Today, we are going to talk to a foster and adoptive dad. Join us today on Fostering the Future.
Welcome to the Fostering the Future podcast, a show about all things child welfare, dependency, adoption, and foster care. Here are your hosts, veterans in the world of child welfare, Jack and Kat.
We believe that every human has incredible and equal value regardless of what side of the courtroom we sit on. We hope that everyone feels welcome and accepted here on Fostering the Future.
Make sure you follow us on Facebook or Instagram as Fostering the Future Podcast, or check us out on our website at fosteringthefuturepodcast.org.
This is Kat, and I am here with Jack, and we have a special guest today in the Fostering the Future studio. Today we have Jack Daddy here with us. Welcome, Jack Daddy.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks for coming all the way out here to the studio. I really appreciate
It's a long journey.
It's a long walk.
the long walk from the house.
How long did it take you?
A couple minutes because I had to wrangle the kids.
Yeah. Well, and I should forewarn our audience today that one of our kids is not able to be out of the grasp of Jack Daddy or I. So he is in the studio with us and amazingly being somewhat quiet, and hopefully we can maintain that. But if you hear little dinosaur noises at some point, that might be what it is.
He's under the management of bribery at the moment. So, Jack Daddy, I have a very serious question for you.
Okay.
What is your favorite drink at Starbucks?
Probably a iced latte.
I mean, if you're not counting calories and you could get whatever you wanted, what would be your favorite?
I'll probably have fattening frappe or something.
A frappuccino?
Yeah.
Like a caramel crunch, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Caramel
I
crunch.
think you only get the latte because you're trying to be more calorie conscious these days.
With almond milk and sugar-free creamer or whatever.
So I've got a question for you, Jack Daddy.
Uh-oh.
What is your favorite thing to do with our kids?
Probably watch them play outside. It's really fun to watch them play. I also enjoy watching movies with them when they're behaving.
Which is always, of course. So what is your best memory with your kids?
Probably, as a whole, anytime we go on vacation together, probably.
You guys just said that.
We just did that, yeah.
What was your favorite memory from this vacation?
Probably the blue holes and the waffle. That's what our
So,
4-year-old calls the waterfalls.
The place with the waterfalls and the rocks that we were sliding on, Jack Jr. down here calls it waffle. I want to go back to the waffle, Daddy. Waffle, like he's saying waterfall.
Well, I mean, that does sound like waterfall. That's adorable.
I knew what he was saying, you know.
I didn't at first. I was like, he wants waffles. Like, why is he so obsessed with waffles this week?
But it wasn't the rock.
You're listening to it.
Yes.
Okay, so Jack Daddy, can you give me one word that you think people would use to describe foster dads?
Foster dads. Amazing.
And do you think that's true about you?
Absolutely.
Obviously. It really is. You are a really good dad. Foster dad.
The best.
Very good foster dad.
What was it that made you want to be a foster parent?
Well, I wanted to expand our family, and having a kid biologically wasn't in the cards. So it seemed like the best thing to do, because you could help kids, but also the opportunity to adopt we knew would probably come up eventually with the case, which obviously isn't the goal, but that's, that unfortunately that's going to be something that happens.
It might happen, yeah.
Yeah, so we figured that's a good way to grow our family and also help kids out at the same time.
What has been the biggest surprise about being a foster parent?
The reason they come into care. You would think it was like beatings or whatever and stuff, but normally it's like drugs.
Yeah.
I find 9 times out of 10 it's the kids in care because of the drugs. It's related in some way or another.
Yeah, it's either they came into care because there was drugs going on, or they came into care because something bad happened because of drugs.
Yeah.
So either way, drugs are usually
Or someone
involved.
was getting beaten because of drugs.
Yeah. That was a surprise to me too when I got involved.
Yeah, I think like there's this picture that people have in your head when you're not involved with child welfare, that it's like kids only get removed if like they're beaten up, and
I've seen that maybe once, if I'm not mistaken. One kid was strictly for that reason. Every other kid, it was drugs related in some way or another.
yeah. So what do you think the hardest thing is about being a foster dad?
The hardest thing about being a foster dad is the unknown of what this kid is going to do when they come in your house. Okay, so there was one time when a kid was in our house short term, and we found out when Jack was looking through the meds, wondering what they were being used for, the kid had like severe mental disorders, and it was like a little disturbing. Like, wow, like, you know, so you just don't know what the kids are going to come in your house. Even the people who send them to you half the time don't have a clue.
Yeah, like stuff you didn't...
Can't anticipate.
What has been the biggest disappointment?
Probably the moments when we realized that a kid in our house needed more help than we can give them, and we had to move them to a therapeutic home.
Yeah, that's really hard.
Because it's like, you kind of feel like a failure, but at the same time you're like, they need more help
Yeah,
than
absolutely.
we can give them.
Yeah. What has been the most fulfilling thing as a foster dad?
Seeing besides the reunification, probably seeing such a drastic change in the kid from when they, came from when they left.
Jack Daddy. A lot of the kids that have come into our home were coming from homes where there weren't father figures. What is it like to be the father figure to kids who haven't really been fathered?
It can be difficult sometimes because you can really tell that they didn't have a father. Like I'll go back to the girls because they're the most, had them like 3 years, but like they had dads, but they weren't really in the picture. So it was, you could tell sometimes that they didn't have a dad, especially when they first got here.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think anytime kids, especially when they don't have a father, they come to a home where there is a father present, it's a big difference. That's
Well, and I know our oldest son was adopted internationally, and the first 2 years was in an orphanage where there weren't men inside. He was cared for primarily, really only by women, and so he had the most work to do. Jack Daddy had the most work to do in bonding with him because, he would go to me because he was used to a woman being his authority and the person to go to for things, and Jack Daddy was just kind of some dude in the picture.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a lot more work.
It's a big challenge and something that I'm sure a lot of kids have to be thankful for. What would you change about the foster care system if you could change anything?
Probably resources.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say money, probably. Resources for the biological parents, I feel like a lot of times they're set up for failure. They're not really given a lot of help. Like, like the one mom we had to like walk to her appointment sometimes.
Yeah.
And if she wasn't that dedicated, a lot of parents would be like, I'm just not going to go.
Yeah.
Like they had some way to help them get places or
Yeah.
some sort of assistance to help them, like give them that opportunity.
Right.
But, like there's got to be ways to assist them.
They need support.
Support, yeah, they need support.
They need support. Yeah. What would you want biological parents to know about foster parents?
That we're not the enemy. I think a lot of them think that we're into like take their kids or something. Like that's not why we're here. I think a lot of them, they just immediately are like, are like see us as the enemy. Which the ones that got to know us realize that that's not the case.
Yeah.
But very few really get the opportunity to get to know us because they immediately come in defensive and
Yeah.
that relationship is already like set to fail.
What do you think could change in our community that would make less kids need to come into care?
Probably assistance with drugs. I feel like they need like throwing people in jail clearly isn't working.
Yeah.
I don't want to get on a political, high horse here, but like people with drugs need help. Like not just thrown in jail, they need rehab and ways to help them, because I think that would eliminate not just kids going into care, but a lot of the problems we have.
Right.
And especially in this county. This county is really bad.
It is really bad.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on social. We hope that you join us again next time and keep on fostering the future.